Hi, everybody. Hello, welcome. I am introducing our Consul General of Detroit, Mr. Kishimori. And the reason I want to do this is because your office is amazing. And I'm so happy he's here. And why I say that is because when I was starting my research with the Japanese community between the 90s and the 2000s, your office was extremely facilitative. So I'm thanking you on behalf of all of them back in the day. Yes, you are your predecessors. Them and the Japanese Business Society of Detroit were really central in my work. And I'm only saying that today because we have a different presenter for you. Please welcome Shinobu.
So before we start, I'd like to give you a few announcements. So let's see, next Thursday, which is a week from today, February the 5th, at noon, on this occasion, our CJS Toyota visiting professor Matthew Frayling, he's here. He's going to talk about distant listening, conceptions of sound and language in Japanese Sinitic poetry. Very interesting. I look forward. So this talk will be held here in this Weiser Hall, 10th floor, where you are. And this will be live streamed on Zoom. And now we also have a free screening next Thursday. So we are going to see classic comedy film Tampopo. Do you remember? I took my very young son, like 5 years old, when I was here to Tampopo at the Michigan Theater. And there are a few sexual scenes. Do you remember? And he understood Japanese, and he could understand what's going on before the audience knew what it was. So sexual scene happened, and he laughed. That was so, well, I don't know how to respond at that moment. That's a very good memory. But anyway, that's an excellent movie, so just, be there and just enjoy. Let's see, what am I supposed to do? So that's good. So films start at 7 o'clock at the State Theater. Doors open at 6:30. And this is free for everybody, okay? All right, very good. So now, if you are attending this occasion on Zoom, please turn off webcams and microphones, okay? And we invite you to use Q&A function during the lecture to submit questions, and I will coordinate all the questions and divide some time between here and people on the Zoom, okay? Now, if you like closed captions, live stream feature is available. I don't know exactly how that works, but hopefully you know how to do it. So now, I'm very, very pleased and delighted and honored to introduce our distinguished guest, Mr. Hajime Jimmy Kishimori. He currently serves as the Consulate General in Japan, of Japan in Detroit, and he's overseeing the state of Michigan and Ohio. Mr. Kishimori assumed his current role in December 2024 and brings with him nearly 4 decades of diplomatic experience. After serving at the United Nations, he joins Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 1987. Over the course of his distinguished career, Mr. Kishimori has held a wide range of key positions in Japan and abroad, including assignments in Washington, D.C., Thailand, Egypt, Geneva, and New York, with both the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the United Nations. Most recently, he served as a senior advisor and director for the Japan unit at the United Nations Development Program in New York City. He was also Deputy Consulate General, Consul General at the Consulate General of Japan in San Francisco. Now, beyond his professional life, Mr. Kishimori is an accomplished and devoted pottery maker, earning him the affectionate nickname Jimmy Potter. So I think Jimmy is a better name than Harry, I think. He's also an enthusiastic oil painter. I have had the pleasure of being at his official residence in Detroit. There are many wonderful paintings, including portraits of some beautiful women.
That's my wife.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was stunned. So beautiful lady. It's his wife. Now, if this were not enough, he's also an excellent cook, just in case you didn't know. It's just wonderful. He prepares wonderful dishes and just amazing cook. So he's not, he's just at the first rate, not only in diplomacy, but also on canvas and also in the kitchen. So please help us welcome Mr. Kishimori.
Thank you. Thank you, Kitayama-sensei. This microphone is working? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Dennis, for your kind introduction, and I'm so happy to be here today. I see so many usual faces, so I'm not sure if I can add value on this lecture. However, I try my best. I've been here 1 year and 1 month. When I got this assignment in San Francisco, 80% of my friends said, I'm sorry, Jimmy, are you going to Detroit? Are you serious? What did you do wrong? That's the impression or perception of Detroit in the West Coast. Maybe in the East as well, where I used to work for the United Nations quite years, and back in Japan too. Only exception in San Francisco who blessed my assignment in Detroit was Kyoteru Tsutsui. Some of you may remember him. He was teaching here for 13 years for the Japan studies. And he got now a new post in the Stanford as a Japan chair. In that capacity, I had a very good relationship with him. And his daughter, actually, was here until the Christmas 2024. So we just missed each other. But he highly talked about Ann Arbor, and this is my, I don't know, Kanta, 4th, 5th times. I live in Cranbrook, and my office is in the Renaissance Center. So I didn't have much time to come to Ann Arbor, but hopefully for my second year, I'll come back again and again to do something more together with you and Director Yunju, who just assumed the new post of, I don't see her somewhere. Thank you. The new director for the international affairs. Congratulations. Today, 3 questions about Japan in Michigan: where, who, and what. But I have 2 sort of ice breakings. One is just checking out the perceptions. And second part, based on my career, the United Nations, I just added on. But I'm given only 45 minutes. And I tend to speak long as a former UN staff. In the United Nations, the speech is longer the better. So I had that bad habit. So I try to be very punctual so that you go like 1 o'clock for the class, if necessary. And 30 minutes for the Q&A. That's my understanding, right? Okay, good. This is my just a quick introduction. I'm a pendulum between the United Nations and Japanese Foreign Ministry, starting from 1999 when I was assigned in Geneva. I don't know if you remember Sadako Ogata. She was the High Commissioner for Refugees for the 90s, and I worked for her at the last leg of 2 years. And she dragged me in to the United Nations. So after Embassy of Japan in Bangkok, I quit the Foreign Service to work for the UNHCR as a deputy representative of Antonio Guterres, who became now the Secretary General. But at that time, he was my boss in Geneva. I worked for the UNHCR for years, and I quit for some reason, and I came back to foreign ministry. Ended up in Cairo, Egypt. That was the only choice. So it's a long story, so I just omit it. But I was again signed in New York to work for the permanent mission of Japan in New York, the government side, and the subsequently signed in the UNDP as a Japan unit director for 3 years. Altogether, 14 and a half years I worked for or in the United Nations. So I'm one of the very minority in my foreign ministry because most of the diplomacy is bilateral, but I'm good at multilateral diplomacy. Then I got old. Then I was assigned in San Francisco, and I came here, Detroit, a year and 1 month ago. So that's me. These are just ice breaking. You know Japan, but for the most of the Michiganders or Buckeyes, Ohioans, they don't know us. So they just think Japan is a small sort of, the one country, the very introvert. However, Japan is very diverse. That's what I wanted to point out. Because I'm from Hiroshima, but my wife is from Iwate, Tohoku. And the DNA, I think there's 2 types of DNAs. DNA of the land, like most of the farmers oriented, like my wife's family. They tend to be very patient and diligent, sincere, because when they sow the seeds in spring, they have to wait and see and reap the crops in the fall. So they cannot move. But on the contrary, me and my clans or families in Seto Naikai, very flexible, open, and practical, because if you cannot fish here, you have to move around to fish, or you just trade something from here to there to sell it high and purchase something back to sell it higher. So that's my style, the DNA of the sea. And this DNA of the sea has been the original trait for the Japanese people. But Tokugawa government closed the country for 260 years. And I think they changed the sort of nature of Japanese people, after which we are rather introvert and domestic oriented. But here, some perceptions, and I go to the reality at chapter 2. I have to announce first, this is not the original stuff. This is a joke, quoted from Christy Davis a long time ago, 20-some years ago, when I was working for the United Nations in Geneva. And people joking, what is the very best lifestyle in the world? Living in a house in the UK, wearing an Italian suit, riding in a German car, eating French or Chinese cuisine, eating an American standard of income, and having a Japanese wife. This is a sort of prejudice, bias, perception of each country. Country has a brand. So this was 20-some years ago, especially in Europe. The next one is also some hypothetical situation continued from that first one. They are talking about heaven, where the chefs are French, the police are British, engineers are German, bankers are Swiss, and lovers are Italian. This is the best world. That's what the Europeans say. But in hell, which is just next to heaven, the chefs are British, because 20-some years ago, yes, the British food was really nothing special, as you may remember. The police are German because of the Nazi image. Engineers are French, which are not well organized. Bankers are Italian, even less organized. And lovers are Swiss, they are boring. I don't know. Again, that's what they said. This is the image. But the image of the nation is important when you work for the United Nations. I will come to the chapter 2. This is another quick hypothetical situation, like Titanic is sinking. That's why the captain asked gently, politely, but forcefully the people to dive to make the ship lighter. So what's the punchline? So Russians, bottle of vodka is floating over there and they dive. So Italians, this is a male chauvinistic viewpoint, but the beautiful lady is swimming over there and the Italian boys are diving. And French, very ironical, mavericks never dive into the sea and they dive. Again, this is the perception. British gentlemen must dive into the sea, and they do dive. German rule dictates you must dive into the sea, and Germans dive. Americans, you will become a hero if you dive now, and Americans will dive. Chinese and the Russians are the same. Package of the gourmet food is floating over there. The sad thing, I saw this, is Japanese. Others have already dived into the sea, and they expect us, Japan, to dive. That's the image of Japan. And Koreans, I'm sorry, Yunju, no offense, is even worse. The Japanese have already dived into the sea, and the Koreans will follow the suit. These are the image perceptions. I just go to the United Nations to use for the reality, how these perceptions work or doesn't work. I just go very quickly because chapter 3 is a main topic. The United Nations, do you know how does that work? Maybe not so popular. That's why I'm wearing this badge, the SDGs. Do you know SDGs? The guy with the red shirt? Okay. Sustainable Development Goals, 17 colors. I was in San Francisco wearing this badge, and I was always in trouble. They considered me a gay person because rainbow looks like this, but that's 7 colors. UN has 17 colors. That's what I explained. But I know the UN is not so popular here in Michigan, so I just go very quickly. What does the UN do? Nutshell is rule making through resolutions in each committee, and they have 6 committees, from disarmament to the legal here. And I used to work for the humanitarian UNHCR and the economic and this one, 5th administrative budget. And UNDP belongs to this 2nd, and I also work for the information committee at the 4th. So, well, what the diplomats in New York or Geneva or wherever the UN do is we just get together to make a coalition to get the majority to pass the resolutions that they favor. So it's always competition, if not confrontation. I omitted the Security Council, which is a very special one here. As you know, P5, who won the war 8 years ago, they formed these special privileged groups. And this is only the committee which has a legally binding power. So that's how it is important in Japan. Has been trying to penetrate into this the circle last 8 years, but in vain. These 5 vested interests sort of secured their own group. That's fine, but nowadays, as you may have noticed, they split. So each one has a veto. So they have been malfunctioning, and that's why the people losing the credibility or trust in the United Nations. Namely, the US, France, and the UK, this side, together with Japan and others, and China and Russia, the other side. And the other side has a lot more. 130, 40 countries are the other side. That's the point. So Japan is isolated, one of the donors. So you have to win a very sophisticated manner. And all those sister organizations, one of those is UNDP and UNHCR, which I was working for. But there are 40 of them. Many of them you don't know. Maybe you know UNESCO, but others are very unknown. Well, it's not a topic today, so I just skip. What does each member state do? We have 193 states in the United Nations. Japan is one of those, and the US is also one of those. One vote, regardless of the size of the economy. That's why the Trump doesn't like UN. He should be treated with red carpet with more respect. If not, that's why he withdrew from the 66 UN organizations at the beginning of this year. But anyway, we did negotiate to adopt the resolutions. That's in your favor. But when the draft resolution comes to the plenary, that's where the negotiation starts. But it was already pre-cooked in the kitchen, we call it, by the chair and the vice chair and the rapport tool. So that's where we should work behind the curtain to make this draft as favorable as possible to your the national priority. So we always use the metaphor of cooking in the United Nations. So one of each is a chef. I was using my soy sauce. French is Dijon mustard, and Americans always use Heinz ketchup. That way we mixed up the resolution in favor of something. This slide is the kimono man who is influencer who came to my residence last July, and he gave me this sauce and apron with which I'm doing cooking diplomacy. The real cooking and the UN cooking, the nature is the same. That's what I wanted to say. And the leadership, the reason I was working for the UN is Madam Sadako Ogata. Just one thing I would like to stress is imagine coexistence. Her idea has been 30 years ahead of us in the 90s already, which means she brought business to the United Nations. And she brought the idea of reconciliation through the sports as well. These two in the 90s, no one understood, including myself. But nowadays, it's so popular. Like Rwanda, Hutu and Tutsi killed each other, not easy to reconcile. What she did as a UNHCR is build a factory where the Hutu and Tutsi are working together to share the incomes. So that's how, well, they hate each other, of course, but they have to work together to make money out of it. So business way of thinking was introduced to the UN operations. The sports, this is former Yugoslavia. It used to be Yugoslavia some years ago. And they are dissolved into the 7 countries now. And the Muslims and Serbs and others, they killed each other, they hated each other. Madame Ogata brought the idea of sports, like basketball in Eastern European countries. And if you play soccer, like Kanta, he's a soccer player. And you don't like some colleague, but you have to pass in order to win. So that's how, even though they hate each other outside the court, they pass each other to win the game. That way, reconciliation was facilitated. Okay, and very quickly, 飛ばすか、ここは。あと30分ね。Performance evaluation, maybe not today. Just one word. The public servants like me or someone else, I don't know the college, which one is close. The UN and the Ministry of Affairs of Japan, totally 180% degrees the difference because our system is a demerit system. When I came to Detroit, my points is full. And if I fail, it's removed. And after 3 years, I keep maybe 90 points, or I may end up having just 60 points. That's the public servant system because it doesn't mean, they don't care, or you don't care who is in the Consul General. You care about the function of the Consul Generals. That's more important. That's how not only the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but the other ministries, government officials think that way, demerit system. But United Nations, when I went to the UNHCR as a deputy rep, the 2005, I had a 0 point because I didn't do anything yet. So if I did something like fundraising, networking, policy dialogue, whatever, they just add on. So the sky's the limit. I can come up to easily more than 100 if I'm so good. But others, if I'm not, it's like 20 or 30 points. So the gaps between the individual officials of the UN are so wide. So the senior staff exists, and all the low rank officials do exist as well. I don't know which one is better, but it depends. If you're confident, you are good enough, definitely you should apply to the UN. But if not, this public servant is much safer. And arrogance and laziness, I'm running out of the time, but maybe this is the point where this perception comes to the reality of the United Nations as well. One anecdote, 2005, 20 years ago, when I got this post in Tokyo as a deputy rep for the Antonio Guterres, I had a very good boss, which is very precious and rare. He was retiring, so he didn't have to compete with me. That's why he was very generous, but he wants me to survive. Then one day, lunch, Rob Robinson, he's from Hawaii, he just winked at me and said, Jimmy, you know you are very arrogant and lazy. And I said, yes, I'm arrogant, I know, but I'm not lazy. And he said, no, you don't understand me. So unless you don't, you understand what I mean, you are arrogant and lazy, you will never survive in the UN system. And the conclusion comes first, the arrogant means you are arrogant to take it for granted that you are doing a great job, so your boss gives you great the marks. But look around the other staff. They come to Rob's office because Rob is the one who evaluates us, the performance review, and that matters for the promotion of the United Nations. And I was the only one who didn't knock the door because I was doing my job. That's what I thought. But he said, no, you're too lazy because you take it for granted that Rob gives you, Jimmy, the points. That's why you never did that. So in relative ways, I don't know your work that much, so I cannot give you great marks. So that way, he said I was lazy. So, the perception means we, the foreign ministry, I still believe that someone is watching you from somewhere. So as long as I do the good work, someone will recognize, acknowledge, and evaluate properly. That exists still in the foreign ministry, but in the United Nations, no. No one cares about you until you come to claim that this is a credit I did for the unit shell or for you, boss. So that's the 180% the sort of different attitude. Well, that's one of the reasons I quit the UN twice. So I'm more comfortable with the Japanese way. But outside Japan, it's not easy. So I stop here. I have 30 minutes. So chapter 3, come to the 3 questions. Where is Japan in Michigan? Who is Japan for Michigan? What can Japan do with Michigan? Usually I take the break here to take questions, but today, 1 o'clock is the time I have to finish. So allow me to go through the chapter 3, and last 30 minutes I can take questions until 1:30. Where is in Japan? Japan in Michigan. Well, this is Michigan, you know. But it's 10,000. 10 million people. Right. 1000万人だな。10th in the United States, and the area GDP is those numbers. So this is you, and Japan for the Michigan for last 4 decades. In the 80s, you hated us simply because of the Japan-U.S. Trade friction, and especially Japanese cheap but good cars flooded in the market of Michigan to wipe out the labor from the big 3 at that time. So they hated us enough to, they demolished the car with the sledgehammers. This is the image of Detroit before I came here from San Francisco. So I didn't want to stop at the signal, so they may crash my car. But now I know. But still in Japan, many of them have this image. And Vincent Chinque's and others, they still existed. But nowadays, good image in a way, through the sushi, anime, ramen, manga, Pokemon, or Nintendo, so soft culture helps a lot. However, I didn't see Japan in the political scene. I have met 30 state senators and representatives. Last night I hosted the dinner for this Lansted he's chair of the Republican Party in Michigan, together with someone from Washington, D.C. The conclusion comes first again. They don't hate us anymore, but they don't know us at all. For instance, not here, but I met Pauline Wenzel. She's a Republican chair of the Energy Committee. I raised the issue of nuclear power plant. Even though we had this disaster in Fukushima 14 years ago, we Japan resumed, remotivated the nuclear power plant because that's clean energy. And we don't want to rely on the oil through the home straits that much because Iran is there and other security stuff. Michigan is doing the same with the different reasons. But she didn't know Fukushima. She is 36 years old, so 14 years ago she was 22, maybe at the college. But still, she, as a chair of the Energy Committee, she didn't know what happened in Fukushima. And Samantha Stekloff, vice chair, 35, she didn't know us either. So really difficult to find some common agenda between Michigan and Japan, which was easy in San Francisco, California. I omit that, but we had a lot in common. Climate change, innovation, AI, mobility, the hydrogen hub, so many, and disaster reduction. But here I couldn't find any yet. Tell me if you have an idea. In the economic scene as well, I attended the Makino conference. You always do this, right? Somewhere here. I had a taxi and the host came. So that's a beautiful island. No car is allowed. 1,500 participants, mainly Michigan and some others, attended for the discussion, which is great. Senator Peters, Governor, Mayor Dagan, name it, they were there. But Sandy Barua, who is the chair of this meeting, told me that, Jimmy, you know that the 1,500 people came to this small island, and the Japanese are only 3. You and your staff, Hamada, and Arakawa-san from Denso, period. So something wrong. Our fingerprints in this Makino conference is so limited. The last year too, the Toyota is, Aishin is a part of it, but otherwise Detroit Auto Show didn't have anything about Japan. And also this business landscape as well. I met the Michigan Big Six, which dominates the Michigan business economy. But they don't know me, and they told me that, Jimmy, you are the first Consul General to meet me in Lansing. So I'm the 14th generation of Japanese Consul Generals. In the past, no one came to knock the door of these people, but they are the ones who have business operations. That's why I'm trying to connect them and JBSD, German Business Society of Detroit. And we did a meeting the last December finally, and this year I'm trying to be more specific to connect. But business, social landscape, Japanese were missing. So that's my finding in Michigan. By the way, Japan, who is he or she for Michigan? This is the second question. By and large, Japan has been the top investor in the United States for the last 6 years, followed by Canada and others. And based on this, look at the dark colors, red colors, where the Japanese investments are heavily concentrated. Despite the bad image of Rust Belt or Midwest, here is the most concentrated the investment area, except California and Texas. So this is what I didn't know until I came here either. And more specifically, Michigan and Ohio. Well, maybe you don't want to hear about Ohio, so I omit that. But Michigan, Japan is the second largest foreign investor after Germany. And we have 15,000 Japanese expatriates in Michigan, and also 415 companies, mainly for the automotive related, creating 37,300 jobs. This basic fact was not known to anyone, including governor, when I met. But she now knows, so she does say about this whenever she can. And this creating 37,000 jobs are highly skilled jobs like engineers from Michigan University. It's not that, well, in Ohio, yes, we create 70,000. So by the size, it's twice. However, it's more like simple work, like a belt conveyor, you just assemble something. But here, very highly skilled, high paid jobs. So that's Japan, but it is here. Mainly Detroit area. Not much. Well, some in the west, but this is very different from Ohio. Even though Honda is a kind of kingdom near Marysville, but we have a lot of Japanese companies from space and healthcare, medicine, food, and in the semiconductors all over. So that's the difference. And I just want to stress one thing, which is who is Japan? Who are we? It means I have a long list of this one, but today just one thing which I want to stress is less is more. Because again, this is maybe the opposite way for the American wealth or happiness. The more the better. But in our cultural, the heritage, traditionally speaking, the less is more. Like this small taketsutsu and bamboo base used for the tea ceremony. So Oyobe-san is the curator for the Michigan University Art Museum, but she's also a tea master. So we'll meet this Sunday. So you know this famous one, the Enjoshi no Taketsutsu. This is very expensive and important, although it looks very simple. And even worse, it leaks. So, however, we cherish that. The reason is here, and I just want to stress that the beauty of subtraction, the beauty is always addition in the different civilization as far as I'm around, starting from the United States, Geneva, Bangkok, Cairo, New York, San Francisco, and now the Detroit. The beauty of addition, but in our case, subtraction, the ultimate minimalism is what we, the Japanese, care. So this matters when it comes to the perfectionist, if I may. So this one is a case of Honda and the GM. They just divorced last year. Maybe you know that. This fuel cell, the third generation. I don't want to go into details of these technical things, even though Osa-san is here, maybe she can explain later. But Honda President Tetsu-san once told me at Cafe Jimmy that I'm cooking for bars, so if you're interested in the more than 21 years old, maybe you can come. And Tetsu-san told me that the reason behind it, putting aside the technical matter, it's a matter of the perfectionist, because Honda has a sort of established way of completing one car from Soichiro Honda, the originator. But GM wants to stop at, let's say, 80% of the completion to sell it early and make money, back. And they say Americans don't care about this part of the last 1 mile, which costs a lot and takes time. So I'm not talking about the married couple though. That happens in the married couple as well. But that kind of philosophy behind it, how to complete one car, best way for the customers. So they're totally different from GM and Honda. Of course, in addition to those other technical issues, but that's just one thing you should know, we should know, I should know. Or otherwise, now my mission is to protect or promote Japanese car industries in this Michigan, in the new normal context, 15% tariffs and others. And the Japanese tier ones want to sell more products to the Detroit 3. But unless and until we solve these cultural, philosophical issues, it's not limited to the business model case. That's what I want to say. Okay, the last, I think I'm on good time, so I may even finish a little earlier. What can Japan do with Michigan, given this circumstance? I just sort of wrote 3 ideas, because this is based on my first year's observation. And after the second, I'm sure I'll change it, revise it. And after the completion of my 3 years term, I will finish the observation. So this is an evolving paper in that sense. 3 things. Maybe third one is close to Imamura Sensei or Yasuda Sensei, all those, even the same name as Big Mochizuki Sensei and others. But my first and prioritized the idea is innovation. Innovation based on the manufacturing. Here, I pick up one example. I should have chosen another one. I will come back to you later. But Triumph is the name of the company from Kyushu. I was in Silicon Valley for 3 years before I came here. And Japan, well, to be more specific, METI and JETRO created the Japan Innovation Campus in Silicon Valley, Palo Alto. Used the former bakery shop. That's an incubation center for the startup. And that's where Japanese startups flooded in to do whatever. But I came here, and I came to the new lab last February, a year ago, with JETRO. That new lab is an incubation center, which I didn't know at all. I don't think anyone knows in Japan. And this is more sophisticated than the one we created in Palo Alto in Silicon Valley. Who did that? Ford. Bill Ford made this 2 years ago. And these are the directors, this one and that one. They told me that last 2 years, 131 companies benefited from this facility. They call it New Lab next to the Michigan Central, the former the station. And no Japanese company came, even though someone came from Norway, from far away. So long story short, JETRO and with the Consulate tried to invite first Japanese startup to the new lab. And we did succeed on the 7th of October to celebrate the big events together with others. And we're trying to invite the second and third one to make this stable path for some startups can choose Michigan, not San Francisco or Silicon Valley. But what's the secret to success? Why Triumph chose, well, they rejected the offer from Silicon Valley and they came to the Michigan, Detroit, simply because the manufacturing ecosystem does exist here, and it doesn't in California. It's more software-oriented, and more brain-oriented is Harvard and East Coast. And these are the two sort of sanctuaries for the Japanese startups. But when it comes to the manufacturing-oriented innovation, like Triumph, they are simply making some autonomous belt conveyor. Sorry, I don't know much about this technical, the savviness, but you know Waymo and others, the also May Mobility here in Ann Arbor, the autonomous driving system. They apply this system to the belt conveyor, which used to make only one product for one belt conveyor. But if this is going to be successful, this part will change autonomously so that they can make different products according to the composition of those the parts. So, which is, well, maybe you think, oh, that's it, but that's a revelation to all this technology, if you know that. But anyway, that's the reason. So we're trying to focus on this part. If the Japanese startups, they focus on this manufacturing or craftsmanship, the based innovation, Detroit is the place, not Silicon Valley in San Francisco or California. But again, we need the second success. And I'm so glad to acknowledge Taniguchi-san sitting here. I can say that, right? It's already open to public last Christmas. So University of Michigan was chosen among other universities, Stanford or Carnegie Mellon or others. But they chose University of Michigan to invest $25 million for 5 years to create a sports lab, which is innovation, one of the innovation for the sports, including the health or the mental health, or maybe you can tell more. But he's the first director for this sports lab, who just got in here a few weeks ago. So he doesn't have a car yet, but he will. He has shoes at least to walk. And he has the shoes of ASICS, of course. So ASICS just chose University of Michigan, and this is going to be a big deal for us, the consulate as well, for the government as well. So we, together with Jetro and others, will celebrate together with the Kelly Sexton, University of Michigan Innovation Vice Dean, sometime in this spring. So Taniguchi-san, thank you for bringing such a gift to University of Michigan. Thank you. So when you buy, see the shoes, ASICS, you buy it over Adidas or Nike, hopefully in the University of Michigan. Well, this is the innovation part in 10 minutes. Next one is sister states. You know how many sister states does the United States have with Japan? Mochizuki-sensei, guess how many in total? United States whole. And well, California has 110, one state and 110. The 50 states, how many do you think?
1,000.
Good guess, actually. You just logically extended. But California is a little too unique. Actually, 400. 400 sister cities all over the United States and Japan, but 1/4 quarter exists in California. That's a lot. So, but here, it's not that bad at all, the 27, and more specifically, the Shiga prefecture and the Michigan state has celebrated this 50-some years sister states relationship. And why I'm saying this, which I didn't say in California, is that like Newsom, governor of California, didn't know that California and Osaka has a sister state. And 2 years ago, it was 40th anniversary, but he didn't know. He didn't give us the letter of the proclamation until I asked for. But here, the governor, Whitmer, when I met her last Christmas a year ago, first thing she said, where are you from? And I said, from Hiroshima. And she said, oh, not Shiga. So that's the first comment from her. And she visited Shiga twice, and we have Keiko Nakajima here. What I'm saying that I can translate these sister states, Michigan and Shiga, into my area, politics and economics and public affairs as well. That's why I care about the sister states. One of the things we will celebrate, including the support of Oyobe-san, is the pottery. As Kitayama Sensei said, yes, I have been practicing pottery from Japan to Geneva, Bangkok, and Cairo, using the local clays, indigenous clays. It's a long story, so I omit that. But just one thing is that the direction of the wheel, ろくろの回転ですね, is totally opposite from Japan and the rest of the world. Japan is clockwise, and I'm right-handed, so at 7 o'clock I just pinch the clay and make bowl or cups. But Geneva, Bangkok, and Cairo, the other way. So it's hard, you have to push here, 7 o'clock. The reason behind this, again, back to the philosophy. My mentor in Egypt, the Muhammad, he told me that, Jimmy, maybe the Japanese way to deal with nature is totally different from ours Egyptians, which means we Japanese have 8 million gods, as you know, the god of the wind, or god of the river, god of the sea, wherever, unlike Christianity or Muslim or Jewish. And we are very susceptible to the nature. But in Egypt, and he said Europe and other civilization has been very proactive to use nature in favor of the human beings. So let's see Michelangelo and Unke, Kaike, the difference between the two. That this is written in the sixth story of Natsume Soseki Yumejuya. But the Unke was once asked why you can make such a great Nyozo or whatever. And he said, no, I didn't create. It stayed there, inside the stone or the wood, and I just helped them to come out. So that's the way that Unke Kaike said. Michelangelo, of course, the stones or whatever, they have an idea to translate through the fingers or whatever to make the shape of what they think the best. So again, 180% degrees difference. I'm digressing, I know. Coming back to the pottery, the same. I don't create balls. I just use this the direction of power of the clay, and I just help them to come up. But the other way around, they are using their fingers to translate or deliver their ideas to the clays to make forms. So I noticed, and he noticed me. So Jimmy, you don't have to do this. You do that way. So just switch the direction as we do Japanese that way. So I think this helps you to understand between Japan and the rest of the country. I don't want to make Japan too unique for you. We are the same. We have a lot of common things, of course. But I hope you know us a little bit more, because this is a Center for Japan Studies and the International Affairs hosting it. So I just digress that point. 3 minutes, I finish. So come to the Huntington Center at the last week of March, and you will enjoy not only the potteries, but we do make potters, and some surprising gift for you as well. I stop there, and ask more. Oyobe-san. Japanese language is a magic chant. The number of Japanese Americans students Japanese language are much more than the California. And here are so many wonderful Japanese language teachers in Michigan. That's what I'm surprised at, comparing with California, my last experience. So I don't go into details with the interest of time, but I just want to point out that 2 facts. One is that, but still, only 2 Japanese studies center exist. One is here, University of Michigan, and another one is the Soga Center in the Western University, Western Michigan University, Western University of Michigan, well, WMU, Kalamazoo. So in Ohio, it's a very scattered around. So what Kanta and I are trying to do is connect you with your sort of the colleagues. Otherwise, you may not meet each other. I know J-Tam, and I know I attended this, Ohio de Kayatana Columbus. That one, OATJ, he attended and said something and left. But more, networking will help. But that's why at the JBSD, the New Year's party a couple of days ago, I tried to make J10, which I mentioned at my last remarks. Okay. Another thing, well, imagine coexistence. If you remember the theme, please go. You shouldn't be late for the class, but thank you for attending this. Thank you. This is the word from Sadako Ogata 30 years ago, but I still am using it. The coexistence is a key between Japan, which is unique, and Michiganders, which you are as you are. But we, the consulate, cannot do much. So I created Team Japan J4, Japan Consulate, Japan Business Society, of Detroit, and I'm so happy to have Rizan from Japan America Society, Michigan, and Southwest Ontario, and Jetro from Chicago. So 4 of us work together as a Team Japan, always. Like the Matsuri in Nanshin a few months ago, the governor came to enjoy not only appreciating the ikebana or matcha, but she made matcha herself. She arranged the flower herself. She drummed herself somewhere. So it's a more participatory way to let the foreigners, in this case Michiganders, appreciate Japanese culture. But again, this is the J4 plus J5 culture, the ceremony, ikebana, drums, calligraphy, and shiga. So this is J9, which came to be consolidated. And now I'm trying to include Japanese language teachers as a J10 to add on. And J11 is already there, soccer. And you know Haruki Yamasaki? He's playing for the Detroit FC, the football club, very young midfielder. But anyway, soccer is coming to the United States this June, the North America. Not here, Dallas and Montreal and another one is Nashville, but still soccer will be in the fashion, and the J11 will focus on this soccer together with Yamazaki-san and others. So what I'm saying is that I don't know the answer, what's the common language between Japan and Michigan yet. However, I know how to approach, how to reach there, which is J4 or has become J9 and J10, including the language teachers of Japanese, and J11, the soccer, J12, J13, maybe J20, I don't know. Many Js get together as Team Japan. So that's the last word, and the cooking is also one of those. The Cafe Jimmy and the Carol Kane is a famous, the Detroit Free Press, the writer, journalist, and I asked her to focus on trial or innovation, but somehow it ended up cooking diplomacy. So that's the press. She is very close to me, finally. However, she doesn't like to be dictated, or she doesn't like to be controlled by me. So she wants to write whatever she wants. So well, cooking is not that bad, but somewhere trial is here. But Michigan Matters, she has a TV program, and I appeared with Mayor of Battle Creek. Denso is a home, and Quentin Messer, MEDC, again, to promote Japan, because I don't think Japan is well understood yet. So I'm using Carol and other press as well. I think this is it. 3 minutes later, thank you.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. I have many questions. I'm sure many of you have questions too, but let me take the liberty to appoint myself as the first person to ask questions. So I found your experience at UN, I forgot the name, your boss told you that
Rob Robinson.
But you are lazy.
And arrogant.
Yes, but I wonder if this laziness extend beyond you and could extend to Japanese companies who might plan to invest in Michigan or the United States, and this collective culture, sharing that mentality might be partially responsible for invisibility of Japanese investment in Michigan and elsewhere in the U.S.
Thank you, Kisame-sensei. That's a very good point, not only for reminding me of this clarification, but also connected to the Japanese business, especially investment in Michigan. Maybe 2 points to clarify that my personal opinion, laziness is the flip side of the same coin on the modesty. So there are always 2 sides of the same coin, right? the arrogance is pride, or the craftsmanship. So and the UN focuses on only one aspect of the one coin. That's my opinion. That's why I quit. I don't think I could survive or could stay longer in that cultural system. But when it comes, that's the first point to clarify. But second point, what can we learn from this to facilitate Japanese investment in Michigan? I'm not a businessman, and I don't drive. I'm not interested in car. Well, now I am, but the 20 years I never drove. So the car is the last thing I was interested in. So I'm learning day by day. But someone else can explain maybe better. But they said that the localization is the key. Used to be the Japanese sort of seconded. The officials come for some years, and the locally hired persons never get promoted to the management. It's two hierarchies. But I see many, the Americans at the top of, Toyota is now, my experience retired, and Moritsu-san came. But eventually I think it will come back to the Americans, and Chris Reed for the Nissan, and name it. You have a lot of the American presidents of Japanese companies already here. So they are bringing some American part of the culture, but they know they have been working for the Japanese company for such 2 decades, 3 decades, learn some philosophy or way of thinking. So they are the ones who can mix up to make a new way of thinking or business model. That's, I hope, for it, in theory.
Here at the University of Michigan, there are very few Japanese students coming from Japan. And it seemed to me that many people after our generations become so inward-oriented, and they do not seem to find any reason to sell what they have outside of Japan, because in many ways, system is internally closed, and you can have reasonably good life within the system, so that they don't see any reason to tell the world what they can do, what they have, what people outside of Japan may need. Now, is that a deeper structural problem underlining this current invisibility? I'm just curious. And if so, what may have to be done to change this?
Well, you're the expert of the cultural the communication, and thank you for the book, which was very inspiring. He just recently published it, so please buy it if you find it at the bookstore. Having said that, I'm not expert. However, maybe 2 observations, one from the UN and the one from my personal experience. From the UN again, 193 countries, the members. And Japan is one of the highest donors, of course, but we have only 1,000, well, 900, very under-presentation. Indians everywhere, some Iranians, name it, so many different, from the different countries, there are a lot. And they, like my office, UNDP, these different composition of the ethnicity make one UN team. Almost impossible. So that's why we fight against each other almost every day, or every hour perhaps. I was talking about the kitchen when it comes to the negotiation for the resolutions. But from the operation side, every day, what is the UNDP policy for the developing countries? So many different ideas, menus, so that I fought again, always. Sometimes I won, many times I lost, because Japanese way of thinking is a little unique in the United Nations system. So today I don't have much time, but I have a lot of stories to talk about it. And last time I was invited by my University of Michigan for the Kinyokai. Maybe you're interested in the UN some other time, but today I would like to focus on Michigan in 3 questions. And based on that, the nutshell is that the perception should be rectified, revised correctly according to the data and facts, hard facts, evidence. So that's the principle which I should stress. And the second thing, you know how many Japanese have passports now? I was surprised. Last week I was called by ambassador for the internal meetings, and in Europe, 60–70% of the nationals, they have passports, maybe more. Even in the United States, 40–some% of Americans have a passport. Okay, how many Japanese? I think he knew it. 18%. I thought that 60–70% of Japanese have passports, but no, 18% only. Less than the United States Americans. I was surprised. Americans, I don't think they have passports, but they do. You do. But Japanese, as Kitayama Sensei said, they are getting introvert and they don't need to go out because they feel very comfortable in Japan. Young ones and even old ones as well. Maybe the touristic reasons they may go out temporarily, but they don't come to work, to study. Even for the foreign ministries, the young ones quit because they feel more comfortable in Japan. I don't know why. Maybe comfortable. I have been away from the Japan for last 11 years already, so I don't know much about recent Japan. But when it comes to living in abroad, as you all know, always challenges. Small ones, leaking the water or something doesn't function, heat is, you know. And you call up and they said, oh, I'm on my way, and it takes 3 days. These things happen all the time. I'm talking about small part. But what I'm saying is that the challenge or acceptance of the different culture, I think this is what I enjoyed when I was young, and I still do. Even I can laugh at what I had experienced in Cairo. Many things went wrong, almost everything. But now I can laugh at it, together with those who shared the same memories. But now Japanese, they don't do that. They don't even try to do that. So that's my observation. Sorry, it's not answer to your question, and I think
Thank you.
better
Thank you.
open to the others who may have other questions. I have
So
20
any
minutes.
questions?
今村先生だ。
Well, thank you so much for your very interesting talk. Obviously, I'm the Japanese language teacher and applied linguist myself, so I have the question about the third point that you introduced at the end of the talk. But so I do agree that relatively, in comparison to our states, the Japanese language education is more visible and thriving. However, I think everybody in the industry knows, well, first, like multilingualism or foreign language education is going down for a while as the entire United States. Also, like Japanese language programs number, I think is slowly going down. We do have multiple issues of like teacher getting older and they're looking at the retirement. There is like much less next generations. And the 3 teacher training programs, I think a couple in the barge of extinguished or erased, and I don't know how many we're gonna end up with, you know, in the near future. So I guess like my question is, as a language program director here at the UM, I do not face that very eminent danger of the program and anything, but as the whole Michigan, I think we have to think about seriously about the, you know, supporting the entire industry, like not just us, who's educators, but as a collective effort. What do you have? I mean, you do have another 2 years of your tenure as a Consul General. So I was wondering, I guess my question is, one, like, do you have any vision, I guess, how Consul General Office can collaborate with the education and also like in collaboration with like any political figures, I guess, like how we can support Japanese language education here in Michigan. And also, I think like in several years ago, the embassy in DC had a collaboration with the local Japanese teacher association, and they did have certain plans, I guess, how they can collaborate. I wonder if that's a collaborative initiative among not just the embassy, but the consulate generals around the United States. So if you have any
I do.
thoughts or information, I'll
Thank you.
appreciate
This
it.
is very valid and a good question. So I take a little longer to answer. I don't have a vision, but we have vision. We mean J4, especially with the reason and the Japan American Society. But before talking about that vision, which we will share anyway with the Japanese language teachers and even CJS as well, I had experience in San Francisco, the similar issues, and I found out that there are three reasons behind the closure of the Japanese language classes. First one is the budget. Second one is running short of the Japanese language teachers, maybe not here. Third one is applicants of the American students who would like to learn the Japanese at high school has been decreasing. And one county, Fremont, the education committee, out of 5 public schools, high schools, they decided to close 3 because of the numbers of Americans who would like to study Japanese compared with the Chinese, Spanish, and others have been decreasing, and they are based on the facts, data, very accurately. So hard to resist. So, but what we did is, long story short, we approached the community and students as well. Student petitions and community leaders come together to make noise. Especially junior high school. These 5 high schools have some, how do you say, line junior high. So the third year comes to the first year of the high school, and these students we focused on to make a noise. Hey, why no Japanese class? I was eager to learn. So not me, Consul General, but students and the parents, they should say that. Supported by all the different press and others, Japanese community, sister agency, the state agencies. But anyway, and that worked to some extent. Here, last couple of weeks ago, 名前何だったっけな、ウェインステートの増田先生だっけ、増田先生 just called me that they are losing Japanese language class, so do something, the consulate. Very difficult, because that's the way we cannot intervene, because that's a domestic education policy. So however, indirectly, that's what we did in San Francisco. It depends on the situation. The budget issue, very difficult. The language teachers, we may be able to go back to the Ministry of Education or whatever. But anyway, it depends on the situation, and we need some read time. So that's the experience, and what we do here in Michigan for the coming 2 years is very simple. The Japanese language teaching combined with JET program, and also a job fair, which will take place in Novi, 5th of February. But 6th of February, on Friday, I host the reception for the returnees of JET after a couple of years with the companies, like someone working for Denso, former JET. Then I invite the Denso staff, if not Arakawa-san, the top, but someone come together and make a good the practice, like Lauren of Hirotech, and Uno-san. Lauren is a former JET, and she's, well, sorry, I don't know many of you, so many greater person is, but she's very impressive. And Uno-san appreciated her job as well. So I invited them, come together, how Lauren former JET is working well for the Hirotech. You chose 3 companies. もう一個何やったっけ？デンソーと、スバルか、そうか。So he's the doer. I just speak. Whatever he does. So 3 companies will show sort of a good practice. And these 3, otherwise sporadically, separately. But Japanese language class issues shouldn't be isolated from other related matters, which is JET program, and also the working for the Japanese companies. And I have to say thank you for the Lizen who goes ahead of me, which means she organized the human resource seminar last November. I think this is very great point because job fair is from the viewpoints of American students who are learning Japanese, so how to get jobs. So but what she did last November is from the other side, the company side, who hire, recruit the Americans, for their companies. So we need both sides of this, the connections. And she noticed and she even did it. So the job fair will take place 5th of February in Nobai, どこだっけ? なんか Civic Center かどっかですけど, if you're interested in come, because you should be there, especially Japanese language teachers. We'd like to invite more intensively. Then JET reception, this one is a trial. So I think you chose some, not all of you, but I'm getting bigger and bigger. If I succeed this year, 6th of February, this small reception, which is a unique way to do that, to combine the Japanese language teachers and JET and private companies. Then this is the vision I'd like to establish as a sort of a career path for one American student who is interested in Japanese to continue to learn Japanese language. Don't stop at the high school, even though kanji comes in very difficult. He or she may get a chance to JET or some other the chances to learn Japanese culture and whatever and come back to work for Japanese companies. So these 3 points should be connected, one path. That's the vision, at least as long as I'm here. Together with Lizen, JBSD is full-fledgedly supporting this idea. JETRO is a little far because that's a trade and export, but still they're with us in spirit. So always J4 will do this the kind of new initiative together. I hope this answers the question.
Thank you. Now,
10
I
minutes.
want to share a few questions. There are several questions on the web. So, well, both questions, 2 questions I have in front of me have to do with your vision and about what Japanese government can do. Now, one refers to this anti-Japanese sentiment that we experienced, say, 30, 40 years ago. Now, that sentiment went away, but this person is curious whether Japanese government did anything to handle this anti-Japanese sentiment back then. And that's question 1. Question 2 is what the Japanese government, or particularly your office, could do in some current problems, including sister city exchange program. In this person's case, her program is dying because of financial problems.
Okay.
So, this is what she says. The sister cities exchange program I was lucky enough to attend stopped in 2019 due to economic concerns in the Japanese city. Do you have any advice or insight into how to reactivate the relationship?
Yeah, thank you. 2 very great questions. First one, simple answer is the establishment of Consulate of Japan in Detroit 33 years ago, 1993, so 34 years ago. Not Cleveland, not Columbus. That's why the Ohioans are always jealous. I have come to visit Ohio already 33 times for my first year, 3 times average for 1 month, but they are not still satisfied, Move the consulate to Ohio. That's what always keep telling me. No chance because of the Detroit 3 or Big 3 at that time. So Enoki-san, he made a book out of it, and the establishment of the consulate itself matters, together with the JBSD and others. Maybe Osana-san is nodding, so you know the history. So then, that's right. Okay. That's even more convenient for you. So and what we did is not enough. That's why I'm trying to meet the big sheikhs or trying to penetrate into the political circle and others together with the J4, because I can open the door for the first time for dinners and other meetings. But a second thing, even I invited the Jeff Morrison. She's the number 3 in charge of the procurement of the GM. And hard to reach in one company, even though Aishin or Denso, but I could invite him and Natalie, the wife, for the social dinner at the Cranbrook. Then I could invite Aishin, Denso, the Toyota Gose, and the Hirotech. You know, it's a social dinner. However, the hidden agenda is a very economic business talks. And once the door is open, connected, I leave it to them because I don't want to intervene all the individual commercial stuff. That's how it works. For the business, at least. So that's the first answer to the first question. Second thing, sister cities, 110 in California. It's a lot. Some of them are doing great. Others already dead or disappearing. And they always complain about the young generations. You know, old people, they still like it. They have the time and money, sorry to say that, but the young ones, too busy to get involved with this kind of stuff. So what we did in California is 2 things. One is that good practice, like sister state, they have exchange programs, and one person who is now the state representative, but at the time city council member, she's Italian, but she speaks Japanese, and she's former jet as well, and she loves Osaka and Kakunodate where she stayed, which doesn't exist anymore in Akita. But make it short, I talked about the 3 connecting dots, the Japanese language teaching and the JET program and the private company's job fair. In the California, we added sister cities as well, because 110, under the North San Francisco, 67. So wherever you go, you have a sister city agreement with Japan anyway. So we call on to those JET receptions or Japanese language teachers, whatever, together, so that they can exchange views, expertise, whatever. And they all have the similar problems. Young generations, even the Japanese American community is losing young ones. They don't feel themselves as Japanese anymore. Working for the Meta or the Apple in Silicon Valley, and the 4th, 5th generation, they don't speak Japanese. They look like very Caucasian already. They have American name. They don't care about Japan anymore. So it's no use to encourage them to come back to the Japan, the arena. So I used the other way around. I used their jobs, which is Silicon Valley. So I hosted some the innovation initiative for the Foreign Minister Kamikawa. She came to APEC 2-3 years ago, and she wants to do something with Japanese Americans. I did twice. One is the old ones, the decorated, these are the ones who are core. But I focus on the young ones, 4th, 5th generation who disappeared from the Japanese community, but they exist individually. With the help of U.S.-Japan Council, Asian Society, and one more I forgot. But again, the consulate has very limited power to search, but they do have a list of those young ones. So I brought them back to speak in front of the Foreign Minister Kamikawa then. So they felt very privileged and honored, and they stay to bring other young ones. So we need some kind of that dynamism we should create. But we keep pouring water to these new mechanisms, otherwise they will die very easily. So I don't know what happened in San Francisco anymore, but I'm trying to find some good opportunities for this kind of new sprouts coming up. But I stop here. Maybe one more last question and I finish, or?
No, I think time is running out.
Okay.
So any
Sarah is
burning question? Well, let's hope that there'll be another occasion.
Okay.
You come back, We can ask many more questions. So thank you very much. Extremely exciting and very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I need to go now, so.